she's having a 10 reaction to what feels like a 10 situation. The husband thinks she's having a 10 reaction to a 2 circumstance. Okay, there's a big disparity with them. And so I'll let you address it from here.
Yeah, so we always tell people that the more intense my feeling, the more it's about me than the circumstance of what my spouse said.
Say that again, because it's really hard to receive that.
Yeah. So the more intense my frustration, the more intense my anger, the more intense my hurt, the more intense my embarrassment, the more intense my feeling, the more it's about me than my spouse. Okay, so we try to teach people that, and so in this scenario, now, once again, in this scenario, this spouse, the wife felt like the situation was a 10 situation. The husband thought it was a 2 situation. So we had to spend some time digging with the spouse. Tell me all the things you're feeling. I get angry, disrespected, don't feel like a priority. And we try to get them from these high-level emotions of anger, hurt, frustration, to down here at the bottom, which is what almost always at the bottom is inadequacy, insecurity, don't feel worthy, don't feel good enough.
Unloved.
But there's a lot of emotions between anger, hurt, frustration, and I don't feel adequate or secure or loved or worthy, right? And so we try to help them see what they're feeling, and then
because now the husband can have more empathy and compassion to her feeling inadequate and unloved versus her anger and frustration.
But there's another big piece to this because, the person may say, nah, I still don't have compassion. Even though they're feeling unloved, they shouldn't feel unloved. Like the person may say, they shouldn't feel unloved. I didn't do anything to make them feel unloved. So the other key piece of the compassion, and compassion is gigantic in a marriage, is what we try to help them understand is usually these feelings down here are tied to something in their past, right? So for me, I hate more than anything to be embarrassed. My father embarrassed me horrifically as a child. He was a violent alcoholic and drug addict, and he would just do horrific things to embarrass me. So if Danielle does anything to embarrass me, it feels like a 10, even though it's usually a 2, right? So I've had to learn, first of all, that what I'm feeling besides embarrassment is I'm really feeling like I'm not worth whatever at the bottom, and really it's the way my father made me feel as a child. And so biggest thing I ever learned in counseling. This is the most important thing I ever learned for me. And we share this with almost everybody we work with. Danielle mentioned earlier a thing called the amygdala. Everybody know what the amygdala is? Okay. Prefrontal cortex, logical part of our brain. The amygdala is the emotional part, our fear threat system. As soon as that gets triggered, it floods us with cortisol, adrenaline, floods us with all those yucky emotions that we don't like, right? It hijacks the prefrontal cortex, what it was designed to do, and it floods us with cortisol and adrenaline. That's great if we're walking through the woods and a bear crosses our path, right? But in marriage, it's horrible. So here's the most important part. The prefrontal cortex stores memories as a picture. So anytime my dad used to embarrass me as a child, and I can remember what it was, specific event, that's the prefrontal cortex storing it with a picture, that memory with a picture. Problem is the amygdala stores all of those memories as emotions with no picture. So when Danielle embarrasses me, I feel the emotion like my dad used to embarrass me, but since there's no picture with it, who do I blame for that horrible feeling? To us, that's probably one of the biggest problems in all marriages. Managing that situation is the issue. So we try to help them understand. So now, when the spouse says what they feel and they get to, I don't feel unloved, or I don't feel worthy, or I don't feel, did you ever feel that growing up? And they start crying and talking about something in their childhood. Now the spouse who didn't have any compassion for their frustration has compassion for this. They don't want them to feel that way.
Now they're more motivated to change their behavior because of the connection they see it had in their spouse.